Hi everyone. So I'm getting a lot of questions. And one of the questions is, how long have you been baking? Or when did your love of baking start? Or how did you get into it? So my first memories, standing at the counter with my mom, um, in the kitchen, of course. And she's registered blind, so I would help her a lot. And we would go out to the garden, we'd pick vegetables and herbs, and we'd come in the kitchen and we'd do our meals and bake a bunch of goodies. And we had an old wood cook stove, so I remember stirring stuff at the stove and stoking the fire with my mom. And we also had a grain mill, so she would set the timer, and it was my job to go and make sure it still had grain in it, it wasn't running out yet, and to check the flour bag and make sure it wasn't too full. So I remember that was about 6 years old, and I remember stoking that old wood stove, the old wood cook stove. I remember stoking it and getting that fire going and stirring things on it with her. And yeah, I have a lot of wonderful memories. And then as I could, start to learn more and write, I would watch her and I'd try to think, okay, is that half a cup? Is that a full cup? Like, what's her measurements? Because she was registered blind, everything went by feel, how much. And so I'm trying to make the recipes so I can bake it. And that way I'm writing down the recipe that I could, the best I could with the measurements I could. And then that way I could bake the recipe later. So I started creating my own recipes and I started baking all the time. And yeah, I got pretty creative. Um, I had a lot of fun with it. I loved it. So I would do a lot of baking. And yeah, and then I was diagnosed with celiac disease. And so all that doing my own recipes and creating my own recipes all became now trying to figure out how to do things gluten free. And my daughter got really involved now. So, yeah, as my daughter got older, she started even creating recipes with me. So we have started a recipe book, actually, a gluten-free recipe book that we've been working on for years. And I've been perfecting recipes, and she's helped me a lot with that too. So now it's my daughter and I. And all that, learning with my mom now has helped me perfect my gluten-free recipes. And now I do gluten-free cakes, cupcakes, everything, bread, you name it, almost everything. I'm almost got everything perfected. So I'm really happy with that because it was hard. It was hard changing from regular to gluten-free. And yeah, that's my love for baking. I have some awesome memories. I remember coming down the driveway, getting off the school bus, running down the driveway, and I could smell fresh baked bread. And if it wasn't done, I sat in front of that stove and I watched it rise. Ah, I love to this day sitting in front of the stove watching bread rise. Anything rise. Buns, bread, even watching the cake bake. I'll lay on the floor and even stare up at the ceiling, and then I'll sit up and I'll just watch things rise in the oven. How tall is it now, or how big is it now, or how's it going? And the smell of fresh bread. And also Christmas time, the smell of gingerbread wafting in the house. That's my favorite memory. I love gingerbread, the smell of it, or well, anything actually, but gingerbread. So, yeah, the way I like to bake is turn the music on, and if it's Christmas time, turn on the Christmas lights and start baking. Just dance around the kitchen, sing to the songs. That's my favorite memories. I do love baking. Yeah. And of course, eating it too. Who doesn't love eating the baking with a little bit more butter? Oh, love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.